This episode is brought to you by The Rudy Project. Thank you so much to Mike Bunting and the team at The Rudy Project for sponsoring today's episode. If you want to receive 35% off everything that is Rudy Project, from helmets to sunglasses to gear, please check out the show description notes and you will find a link where you can set up an ambassador account to get, that's right, 35% off everything. Also, we have a newsletter that is on the website, stupidquestions.show. If you sign up for that newsletter and give us a follow on Instagram, it's just our Stupid Questions podcast. Anyway, I'll link it in the notes. If you follow us and sign up for the newsletter, you will be entered for a drawing that we will be doing for some Rudy Project gear. There are shirts, there are hats, there is water bottles, there are sunglasses, a number of different things. So if you want to be entered into that drawing, again, please go follow us on Instagram and sign up for the newsletter at stupidquestions.show. That is the website. Thank you so much. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to this next edition of the Stupid Questions podcast. Today, we have on the podcast Mr. Marc Dubrick. He is a professional triathlete, recently gone long course from short course. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about his life, his upbringing, what inspired him, how he got into what he's doing, his interaction with Jan Frodeno on that clip that went viral for the PTL US Open, and many other things. This episode runs about an hour and a half long, so it was a little longer, but so much fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much to Marc, obviously, for jumping on. Well, cool, man. Thank you so much, Mr. Marc Dubrick, for jumping on the podcast. The first question I just want to open up with, I don't know if you've listened to the podcast yet in the past, but I like to ask the question kind of in third person, who is Marc Dubrick?
Who is Marc Dubrick? Well, first off, thanks for having me. Third time's a charm. We figured out
That's
the
right.
phone issues.
It's all good.
We got past the computer issues. But yeah, who's Marc Dubrick? Definitely very passionate about sports, passionate about triathlon, and hopefully growing the sport of triathlon to more people. I've been doing swim, bike, run for quite a few years now. Grew up a swimmer, switched to running, ran in college, and now just kind of living the dream. This is a dream job, and yeah, hopefully get to do it for a lot longer.
Yeah, it's super awesome. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in a town called Dekalb. It's an hour straight west on 88 outside of Chicago. So most of the time I
Okay,
just say Chicago, but
sure.
maybe we'll have some people on here who know. But yeah, Northern Illinois University's there.
Nice.
Um, school of I grew up like I went to a private middle school and like
Okay.
elementary and high school, and then switched to the public schools in high school. But yeah, I graduated with 17 people, eighth grade class, and
Nice.
then
That's bigger than my
400.
4, so.
You had four. Were you
Yeah.
homeschooled? Were those your
Well,
siblings?
no, it was a private school, but there was only 4 eighth graders, so it was very small. 3 girls and me.
Oh wow, lucky guy.
Yeah, somewhat. I had a crush on one, but the one that I liked, she didn't like me, and the other one liked me, and
Oh
it was a
no.
mess. Yeah.
Four people. All right, and they weren't your siblings. You weren't homeschooled.
No, definitely wasn't homeschooled. My mom tried it at kindergarten, and then she immediately was like, "Yeah, after 6 weeks, hooked on phonics. I'm not into it. We're getting you in school."
All right, yeah, you got me beat. I've never heard of that small of a class.
Yeah, very
But
small.
yeah, just outside of Chicago is where I grew up, and yeah, it's a farm town. Just I had a great group of kids
Hmm.
in the neighborhood. I have two older siblings as well, so we are active, every day, sun up to sundown, playing whatever, capture the flag, playing
Yeah, it's awesome.
street hockey, and then yeah, so very active growing up.
Yeah, that's really neat. So the more of a rural setting, it sounds like, where you were living.
Yeah, kind of a mix. I mean, I'll just put it into context. We still had like drive your tractor to school day, and we had like
Okay,
FFA, which is Future Farmers of America. I
there
never
you go.
did that, but yeah, very diverse town. I mean, I think there's probably, I don't even know, actually 40,000 people in DeKalb.
Okay, so it's not.
But a big university, so you get quite a big diversity just simply because of that as well.
Yeah. So why private school when you were, I guess it was like grade school, middle school?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Just what my parents thought was best for me. I'd say it was probably good. I mean, I wouldn't call
Sure.
myself a rebel or anything. My parents were
Mm-hmm.
definitely harder on me growing up, but sports and then my parents and a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of coaches and teachers, like, I mean, I guess it's just who they wanted me to be influenced by in a way.
Yeah, for sure. So where are you at in the lineup of siblings in terms of
The
age?
youngest, yeah. So
You
my
are the youngest.
sister, she's exactly 5 years older than me. We share the same birthday, November
Oh, wow.
15th. Yep.
Wow, that's really impressive.
So
Were
that was
you
always my
both
fun
do?
fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my go-to fun fact. You know when they do those icebreakers
Yeah.
in middle school,
Two
high school,
truths and a
whatever.
lie.
Yeah, I was like, I share my birthday with three other family members. There's my sister, exactly 5 years older than me, my cousin, exactly 5 years older. They're 4 hours apart, and
Yeah.
then my grandpa. We all shared the same birthday.
Wow, that's really, I mean, I've heard of like, so my wife's family, they have, I don't know, 13 cousins and stuff and all. And some of them do share very close birthdays and maybe even one or two on the same, but to have that level of planning, I
Consistency.
don't know, what do you call that?
Yeah, planning or yeah, I don't even know. I don't really want to think about the 9 months before.
Sure. So,
Yeah.
so as a kid, it sounds like you were pretty high energy. Like you're playing hockey, doing all these things. Was it like,
Yeah,
hey, Mark, get out
definitely.
of the house?
Yeah, I just was very active and had a great group of friends and I started swimming simply because my parents really didn't want me to like drowned, I guess, when we'd go to the lake or
Mm-hmm.
go boating or anything.
Sure.
My siblings both did that, and I just kept with it all the way through. I mean, competitively all the way through high school, and then when I ran in college, I kind of took a break. I was like, I want to just focus on running, see how good I can get it at that. But just because of a few injuries, classic college runner, would jump back in the pool for cross training.
Yeah.
No weight, no load on the body there. But yeah, swimming was the start, and then
Yeah.
just again, friends and my parents. Just we were in the sporting community, I guess. Started
Mm-hmm.
running a bit more, and ended up liking that a lot more.
Yeah. So, are you more extroverted or introverted?
I don't know. It's tough. Like I sometimes I don't do best with public speaking. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is I'm getting used to this. I'm doing more and more of it,
Sure.
and again that's why I'm doing it to get better at it.
Yeah.
Um, it's still intimidating, and sometimes I fumble over my words or whatever.
Yeah.
But like with friends, with certain friends, with people, I don't know. It's just like there's a weird connection sometimes with people, and it's just like I can talk
Yeah.
continuously. So yeah, so I definitely have the like switch moods, but I'd say yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a bit more outgoing and talkative.
Yeah.
But I definitely sometimes keep to myself, and I can be fine like being alone as well.
Yeah, for sure. I grew up pretty extroverted, but the older I've gotten, learned how to be a little more extro or introverted,
Hmm.
and I start to appreciate my time alone a little bit more. I guess that comes with age, but I was curious if it was some similar with you. But it sounds like
Yeah,
you're probably more
definitely. I
introverted.
think it's very similar. So it's actually funny. It's not quite as fun, but for a while I had to travel alone for all the triathlons. So I was going to
Mm-hmm.
these random places, like places you'd never want to go, or not want to go, but places you wouldn't usually go,
Yeah.
because I was going there for a short course triathlon race, and a lot of those were by myself. I'd meet people at the races, but big travel days alone, and I mean it's good sometimes, but traveling and most of the time training is definitely better with other people.
Yeah, for sure. No, I would have to agree. So with swimming, I'm curious. So I've been swimming for all of about 3 years, really. And in that time, as you progress, like I start to understand what swimming feels like. So can you talk a little bit about like when you started swimming to when you started to just like add on pieces of your stroke, or you started to realize like, oh, this works better than that? Like, did you have those kind of experiences where you're kind of tacking on new levels of skill where you felt like how to maintain speed by a certain body movement or position?
A little bit. So growing up, it's more just for fun.
Sure.
You're going there to hang out with your friends. Of course, you're competitive when you get to a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
I had a really good club, swim club. I mean, we were always competing for like state titles and stuff. And then I also had a really good and really fun high school program. So of course, in high school, it is a bit more serious, but also is fun. And I think the coaches along the way really helped kind of tack on those skills of like underwater works. That's really important in pool swimming.
Mm-hmm.
Stroke and like stroke analysis we would do, but a lot of it was just kind of just pounding the yardage out.
Yeah.
and you'd have these clinics, and you'd, yeah, like I said, get those stroke analysis, get a camera under the water, or if there was like a viewing window, you
Yeah.
definitely can pick out some inefficiencies. But mostly it was just swimming a lot
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, no, that's what I've heard. Yeah, my coach would pound that for the first couple of years. He's like, "Yep, it's just most to get faster, you got to swim a lot more." So that's how it works.
And I think that that's very true for like people who started swimming. I don't necessarily believe that that's what new adult swimmers. I think y'all call it adult onset swimming. It's like some sort of
Mm,
acronym.
yeah, sounds like a
But
disease.
yeah. So I don't think like more is more for swimming, especially like it depends on your age. I mean, like
Sure.
I was living in the water. Like my skin was like I was like growing scales with how much chlorine was in my system. But
Wow.
yeah, I think it's a bit different the older you get, or when, depending on when you start.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. But I'm not like seasoned enough to really say that I know one way or the other. So I look forward to like talking to other people who have a lot more swim experience. Because I mean, you started swimming when you were how old now? You said
Probably five. I'd
5, and
say
you're 27 now.
28. Yeah, I'll be
28.
29 November 15th. So
Oh, dude.
getting there, getting in the
Yeah.
prime,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
in
good
the
age.
prime.
Yeah. So I did some reading on you and looked at your college. I guess in your college record with the Tigers or whatever, I think it's the Tigers. They
Yep.
included all of the many, many things you did. So according to your vast history in cross country, I spotted on the Tigers website that you must have started running when you were pretty young. Was that like at the same time that you were into swimming as well? And I think you told me that a little bit, but I was trying to get that kind of definitive line.
I would say I did like club track and club a few things, but nothing too serious. I mean, really, it wasn't at all serious. It was all really fun
Yeah.
until like right before high school. So still pretty young.
Yeah. That's how it should be, probably.
Yeah, and I was running. I actually wasn't running really at all. My coach was my mom. The first time I joined cross country, my mom is my coach.
Okay,
Was
nice.
at the time. So I'm trying to say this straight.
Yeah.
Because we had to start our own cross country program. That private school I went to didn't have a cross country team. This is for seventh and eighth grade. So
Okay.
we paid the whatever $100 for the club fee, and then she let me design my own kit. So it was like I think it was St. Mary's middle school or elementary school. So I think I put that in like flame little letters,
Nice.
and it was just me. Yeah, it was only me. But yeah, I didn't really run. She just dropped me off at swim practice, and then I'd get my fitness from that. And then maybe I think once a week I would go run with a friend or something, or join the other middle schools. They're super welcoming.
Yeah.
I
That's
couldn't
awesome.
run for their team, but they were still inviting me to the practices, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's really good. So you start to stack yourself up against other people a little bit, probably in your mind at that age.
Yeah, and just get to meet more people. Like for
Yeah.
me, that's what it was about at the time. And then obviously it was even better getting into high school. I already had these like crazy cross country kids I was friends with and meeting
Yeah.
up for cross country practice and track practice and stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until college that I ran through a winter. So in high school it was
Always take a break.
uh, yeah, it was cross country, run a little bit over the summer. We had a challenge in high school about who could like, it was 1,000 miles over the summer, and I forget what that breaks down
Wow.
to per
Yeah.
week. It's really not that much. I think it's maybe 30 or 40 miles a week for the summer. I forget what it is. Maybe it's more than that. But I
Not
remember
for an
getting on
Olympian. Yeah.
the top ten list, but I had only my swimming miles in there. I think I ran maybe 20 miles over the summer, and
Okay.
then I just like my coach let me convert
Yeah.
my swimming, and
Yeah.
then yeah, I just did cross country, swimming, track for those 4 years in high
That's really
school.
awesome. So when did you start to notice that you had some, I guess, skill/talent in the sports?
In sports or in running.
Yeah, I guess we can go with running first.
Yeah. So running, I guess the almost like when I joined this club in seventh and eighth grade, I forget, just swimming. We went to this AAU nationals. AAU is like the governing body, similar to like USATF, USA Track and Field.
Yeah.
And I think we lost by 2 points. But it was like my second cross country race ever.
Wow.
And I got, I think, seventh or something there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and not running. Like, so it was a good start, and that just made it fun. Like, success always is,
Sure.
makes things more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
But then also just like the really good group of guys and still friends that I have from that, you know, seventh and eighth grade
Yeah.
team.
Do you still have friends today from those like times?
Yeah, we stay in touch. It's funny. All five of us, or maybe seven of us, ran Division One.
Okay.
So we were able to race almost once a season, which is really fun.
Yeah,
And
that
most
is
of them
really
are in Chicago, actually. Still,
okay. Nice.
yeah,
That's really neat. Have you noticed any of those friends from that world that also moved into
a
triathlon?
little bit. Yeah, it's exciting because I'll have them message me every once in a while about like, hey, is this a decent price for a bike? Like, what should I be doing
Nice.
on the bike? Like all this stuff,
That's awesome.
which is fun for me. Yeah, able to reconnect with them and hopefully get them into to triathlon.
Yeah. So what was it like going into out of high school and then you're getting into college and then you decide to run for Division One? Like, were they scouting you out in high school, or did you just kind of show up and apply and like, hey, here are my times? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I would say I was like a preferred walk on. I
Okay.
had from that club team, I had a teammate who was a year ahead of me, who went to University of Missouri or
Okay.
Mizzou. So I visited him, and then I also went for an official visit. So you get 5 official visits, where the school kind of pays for you to get there. They usually put you up with someone on the team, and then you
Yeah.
have food covered and all this stuff.
That's nice.
Um, and I was not good enough to get a scholarship really anywhere. I looked at a pretty diverse set of schools, Division 3, which doesn't even give scholarship at all, and then Division 2. I looked at a few of those; they can give scholarship, and then some Division 1 where I definitely was going to have to walk on. I just kind of wanted to get to the best school I could get to
Yeah.
run, and then Mizzou, like it wasn't great academically, but it was just a perfect fit. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, preferred walk on. But Mizzou, I think they still have this. It's really easy to get in-state tuition. So I paid out of state. I had some high school scholarships, was great, which was great. Academic scholarship going in for the first year,
Mm-hmm.
and all you need to do to get that in-state tuition was stay for a year, make $2,000, get a lease, and get a license. So pretty easy. I mean, you're gonna want to
Yeah.
stay the summer after your freshman year, anyways.
Yeah. Sure.
And I ended up taking classes, so I didn't have to take as much during the year. And yeah, it was like essentially a $15,000 scholarship
Wow.
from out of
That's
state to in state.
yeah.
So it made it very, very reasonable to go to Mizzou as well. And then after that, my third year, I was awarded a scholarship, which was great. So
I assume for running.
for running, yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I think they were kind of just rewarded me for
Sticking it out.
yeah, in a way. We had a coaching change, and instead, a lot of people went in like, "Hey, I'm gonna leave unless you up my scholarship." I went in and it was like, "Hey, I love this school, love this program. I'm
Good for
not
you.
here to talk about scholarship. I'm here to tell you I'm committed and I'm ready to stay and get to work." And ended up giving me more scholarship, which was great.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah,
So I'm for two things. I have questions because I just don't know.
yeah,
What does preferred walk on mean? Does that mean that
yeah. I
what
don't
is
think it's a proper thing, like a proper name.
okay?
Like I verbally committed. Like I talked to the
Okay.
coach. We were doing everything except for me signing like a national letter of intent
Okay.
for it. So like I didn't go to school like not sure if I was going to make the team. Like
Yeah.
most walk-ons come on and like maybe kind of try out. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say most, but a lot like maybe don't know. But for cross country, there's this probably changed. These numbers have changed. There's
Sure.
only 12.7 or something full ride scholarships that they're
Offerings.
allowed to award, and that's actually for track. So cross
Okay.
country is under that umbrella of the track scholarships. So
Okay.
a lot of distance runners really don't get much funding unless the school is not really focused on track, because track runners, they can do, cross country. You got cross country indoor outdoor, which is nice, but at
Mm-hmm.
track meets, you're probably only doing 1 or 2 events, where sprinters can do,
Yeah.
3 to 4, and
Yeah.
if they're really good, they can score. So um, it just depends on the program's focus. Where like SEC, very sprint heavy. The distance programs have definitely come a long way. Like they're
Sure.
definitely top in the nation as well, but they'll always be like a sprint. sprint
Yeah.
schools.
Interesting. So I'm curious also with like Division 1, 2, and 3, do you know what kind of criteria a university or institution has to reach to say I'm D1?
I do not actually.
I need to do some research on that.
Yeah, that's a good one to research. I don't know. You know, you hear schools who switch every once in a while, and then they'll have to kind of like sit out a few years or a
Hmm.
year from any competitions or like post-season like championship games. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not really sure what is the deciding factor for that.
Yeah. Okay. So, when it comes to college, how did that fit in with your sporting life? Like this other side of you that was continuing to grow, and maybe you were even thinking, oh, this might become what I do professionally.
Yeah, I was not thinking about pro triathlon like quite yeah, I don't think. I mean, I did a few. I did this junior elite series, which was like it's the intro to draft legal triathlon because
Mm-hmm.
there's two types of triathlon. There's the Ironmans that you see,
Yeah.
which is non-drafting, and that's like 70. There's Olympic
Yeah.
distance, and then there's like 70.3 and fulls. And then there's yeah the stuff that's in the Olympics, which would be draft legal, and those are sprint distance and Olympic distance. And this junior elite series is kind of the USA's version, the introduction to that type of racing. So I did that and loved it. It was an absolute blast. That was my introduction into the triathlon kind of community as well. But yeah, when I got to college, it was just like I want to run. I want to see what I can do running. But honestly, yeah, being a student athlete definitely helped my like being an athlete helped my studies, I'd say. Because if there was something like available to me as far as like tutors, which there were a bunch of tutors available for free, I'm taking
Yeah.
that. Like I'm maximizing like on these resources, and that I've kind of always been that way. So there's a really good career development program. Good friends with the guy who ran that. He actually went to NIU, so we would talk about my hometown Dekalb because
Yeah.
that's where he was for 5 years before going to Mizzou. And then yeah, there's tutors that we had available. There was all these awesome resources that helped my studies. So I think I was definitely a better student from the stuff that the
Sure.
resources I had available because of running.
So Mark Dubrick seems like an A student. Is that a
No,
accurate assessment? No. Okay.
I was not an A student. But I mean, yeah, I also had to study. So like, there's those people that are really annoying where they don't study, they just go to class, they
Yeah.
listen a little, and they come in and ace the tests. I was
Yeah.
not that way. I had to study.
Yeah.
I had to focus. I had to do all this stuff. Especially when you miss a lot of class. Like
Yeah.
I
For
was missing
traveling.
like quite a bit of class, and I wasn't on some of these like the basketball players during March Madness. They're not even going to school for like a month and a half. I feel like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
but we would leave. It got better as I got further into college. I switched from a fisheries and wildlife degree to a business management. Just a much
Fisheries and
better
wild.
fit. Yeah, very. It's like environmental. It was in that kind of side of it, and it's just like was fun, good hobby. I love outdoor stuff. I love fishing, love all that stuff. But not, I guess, as a profession. I realized, and
Mm-hmm.
so I switched to business to get a degree. And when you get 2 years in or a year into the business school, you don't have classes on Friday, or you usually don't. So that really helped as
Yeah.
well because we mostly leave Thursday afternoons for these
Mm-hmm.
races. So I wouldn't miss any class, which is very helpful.
Yeah, that is super helpful. So why business admin?
Just get a degree. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was busy. Yeah, business with an emphasis on management, and I got a minor in entrepreneurship.
Nice.
And some of those classes for the entrepreneurship minor were actually my favorite. It was just
Yeah.
super low key. Most of them just had guest speakers, business owners,
Mm-hmm.
um, kind of anyone. Just they'd come in, tell their story, and just let us ask questions.
Yeah, that's literally the same degree I have. I had an associate's as well in construction, but my business was exactly the same.
Where did you go to school?
A small private university in Collegedale, Tennessee. It's right outside of Chattanooga. It's called Southern
Okay,
Adventist University. Yeah,
awesome.
they had intramurals, but no like any real sports. They had like a triathlon club, and I joined it once, and like nobody was into it. I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
But
it's not gonna be fun if no one else is there.
yeah, no, it wasn't as fun. But a fun fact: when I met my wife, actually in college, I started hanging out with her, and she expressed interest for doing this local sprint try, and I was like, oh, I want to do one. She's like, I don't know. I was like, no, we're doing it, and we signed up right there, and like that's how we started hanging out, was training for this triathlon. And now thinking about it, man, it was actually insane because we were getting up at 6 a.m. and hopping on these road bikes on a very busy part of the road with no lights. I remember one time we pulled off on the side of the road. This lady's like honking at us. She's like, I see you out here every morning. You're going to get hit and die. I was like, I'm fine. It was literally, now that I cycle a lot, it's like, that was the stupidest thing we could have
Yeah.
done. Like, so dumb.
I love hearing these stories of like the beginnings of
Yeah.
someone's fighting in the sport. And yeah, it's kind of funny the things that people do, or that, I mean, I
Oh,
did
yeah.
some really stupid things as well,
Yeah.
but I guess you learn from it.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, do you think that your college degree was worth it? Do you think
Uh,
that, yeah,
yeah, I think it was, like college versus no college. I definitely think it was worth it, and
good.
a lot of that was, like being a student athlete. Like you can only do that once,
Mm-hmm.
and I was never really into the partying, so I
Good for you.
was, yeah, focusing on being the best student athlete I could be, and
Yeah.
making the most out of those 5 years. I went 5 years, that I could, because that's like you do it once and that's it.
Yeah, for sure. So then when you're now at the we're going to skip ahead just a little bit for
Yeah.
this question, I guess, but now that you're a professional, you're getting more attention, and I assume you're getting more sponsorships, or you're trying to like negotiate contracts. Do you think that your like business acumen that you were able to garner during that time helped prepare you for what you're having to deal with now?
I think it did,
Yeah.
a little bit at least. I think what's prepared me most is just doing it, getting out, networking, meeting people,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is you get so much. I mean, nowadays, like the sponsorship stuff has changed. So like it's such a different,
Yeah.
like, I don't
Social
even know
media
how to put it.
versus yeah.
Yeah, it used to be like the best athletes get the best deals. Now it's those that are probably have the most
Have a good face.
influence.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, have the best influence, can reach the most people, YouTube channel, Instagram,
Yeah.
whatever, or the people that are most well connected.
Yeah.
So I've tried to kind of do everything. I have a hard time like making my own YouTube videos. I did that for a little bit. Maybe I'll get back to it. I do enjoy this. Like I do enjoy the social media stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely need help with certain things. And the same with the negotiations and the contracts. Like
Yeah.
I enjoy all that stuff. I'm learning about it, but I'm getting help with those negotiations. But man, it's been a grind. Like the short course scene is pretty tough. Like the sponsors in the US, it just seems very minimal. Like I had the
Mm.
hardest time finding anyone who was really willing to like kind of support. But I had,
Yeah.
like, obviously I have my family, I have my coach, I have a bunch of people in my corner who enabled me to get whatever 4 years in the short course scene. But it just came a time where I had to decide that, like, okay, I'm either going to be done with triathlon within the year, or I need to switch my focus to the 70.3 and the longer
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and then I can keep doing what I love, and possibly give like those other goals that I have alongside with triathlon. I can keep doing those, or keep like pushing towards achieving those other goals. Because the sponsorship for long course and like these non-draft stuff, it's
Mm-hmm.
much better in the U.S. It seems like, at least I've had much better luck, better community,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's kind of enabled me to, yeah, keep doing this.
Yeah, I think it's a lot. Probably has a lot to do also with the just the popularity. What's more popular in the U.S. because of the
Hmm.
Ironman brand. I think that has carried a lot of the industry in that direction because like that's where the broadcasting has happened. Which will be interesting to see what Super League does with trying to take over a few different cities here in the U.S. for the short course stuff. But was that the main reason that you switched from short to long? Was because like sponsorship stuff? Like,
Yeah, sponsorship stuff, and I'll just say it was made very clear for me that the future of my short course triathlon was probably not going to be much longer. I mean, like someone essentially told me that. So
really?
I, had asked, myself the hard questions. Like, yeah, of course, the Olympics has always been a childhood dream, but
Sure.
so is being a professional athlete. And I have a lot of other goals that I want to accomplish. A lot of other athletic goals and outside of sports goals. Um, so yeah, just had to kind of make a hard decision.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I have any regrets about stopping in short course, but I think it was, yeah, I mean, it was made very, very clear that it was not going to probably end well.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, now I had probably the best year of triathlon that I've ever had. And I'm hoping, it feels like it. I've had this ball of momentum now.
Yeah.
Hopefully that ball is rolling and it continues to roll, and I can keep, yeah, having these results and keep meeting more people, getting more sponsors, and
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully one day be, world champ, and who knows what else.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, you're young. I'm excited for you to see it go. But I want to dwell on that just for a second longer, if it's okay with you, because
Yeah.
I mean it's raw. I know for me in the stuff that I've done, if ever I have someone that has approached me and like told me to go a different direction in something I just totally believed in, like it's not an easy thing to do when your identity becomes so wrapped up in one particular thing, or in this case, like a distance. I would assume, like, how did you deal with, or are you still dealing with it? Like, is there still like a soft spot there where that still hurts to talk about, or have you moved past it? Like, how have you dealt with it?
Yeah, not so much a soft spot. I mean, I think it was just, um, yeah, the politics of the Olympic sports.
Yeah.
They kind of want their athletes and the ones they've supported
Yeah.
to do well. And I'm never gonna say I deserved anything. Like,
Sure.
you work your results. Like, my results weren't great. Like, I'm someone who's always able to look at it and be like, okay, I understand my results weren't great. I understand, like, some of my weaknesses. I would say I didn't deserve that email necessarily, or these,
Yeah.
like, that stuff. Um,
Give
but
me their name
honestly,
so I can
like,
go tell them off. I'm mad for you.
honestly, like, you know how, like, people sometimes beat around the bush with things, and like
Yeah.
they don't just tell you directly. That directness, like, it wasn't the only time. I could see, like, it was kind of coming. My
Sure.
results weren't great, so I'm gonna say that first, but I kind of saw it coming in a way. But that directness was, honestly, I'm looking back at it now, and obviously talking about it now, is
Yeah, it can be a
probably the
blessing.
best thing. It wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna drag this on for a little bit longer. No, like, the next race. It just became clear that I needed to make a change of focus, I mean, still in triathlon, of course, but just
Yeah, sure.
a different side of triathlon.
Sure. So what year was that? Or how long
That
ago?
was last year.
Oh, that was
I
last
mean,
year.
yeah, I mean, I did short course this year. I did two in Chile.
Yeah.
I guess that was me, like, no, like, it's, I'm still fit. I believe in myself, and I do, of course.
This
I
was
got a
Super
flat
League? Was this?
tire. No, it was these two World Triathlon events.
Okay. WTS.
Yeah,
Okay.
in February, and I
Okay.
got a flat at one, and then did just I just raced really poor at the other one, and that was kind of it in a way.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then, so were you, because this year a lot's happened, then you raced those two events. Were you already kind of signed up for doing or looking to try to get into the PTO events or some of these 70.3s? Like, what was
Yep.
the.
Yeah. So the kind of the mix of adding long course with the short course schedule started 2 years ago, I'd say. I
Mm-hmm.
broke my hand. So coming off COVID, no one raced.
Yeah.
It was
Dead man.
essentially,
Dead
we were
landlord.
all let off for whatever, a year and a half. And then finally races started coming back, and I took the opportunity. I went to Europe and raced, like, the very first race after COVID. Did very bad, and then I raced again the next weekend, and I broke my hand. I was like, gosh, are you
Ugh.
kidding me? Like, didn't race for all this, and then now I broke my hand. I ended up still racing with the broken hand. I did 3 races when I was over there,
Oh,
but,
you
like,
crazy man.
yeah, and that was my best race, was the one with the broken hand, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
It was very, very painful, but
Ugh.
everything was booked, non-refundable, so I was just gonna give it a try.
How do you swim with a broken hand, Mark?
So thankfully, it was a very, like, weak race, I guess. There's the tiers. There's WTCS WTCS World Cup, Continental Cup, and this was like
Okay.
a low end Continental Cup. But yeah, at that race, I just swam with, like, a closed fist in one
Oh
hand.
my word. A close fist. What did you break? Like the
Yeah,
metacarpal?
the fourth one. Yeah, I
Um.
crashed on the bike, and then I didn't really think much of it. I had, like, some gnarly road rash. That's what I was most worried about. And where am I in? Germany. Couldn't get an X-ray before my flight. but I was going to Egypt. So not only was it like another race, but it was in a place that was like extremely different than what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's still just like such a crazy experience. It was an all-inclusive hotel. They made us stay in it because it's still kind of during COVID. Um, but the doctor at this all-inclusive hotel, he's like, the first thing he told me, his English was really good. He's like, "It's my dream to be an American doctor. Like, I'm gonna treat you he was like always
He was
checking in
stoked.
on me, making sure I'm okay. We got an
Wow.
X-ray, and then next thing I knew, I had a cast on my hand. Like, I couldn't even say no.
Yeah.
They didn't let me, and then yeah. But thankfully, it was like just like a partially hard cast with wrap. So I would just take it off. I just took it off for the race, and then put it back on for the travel home.
Wow.
But yeah, sorry, long story, long lead into that.
No, you're good. You're good.
That kind of got me into training for 70.3 Maine because at the time I was living up in Bedford, New Hampshire with my coach James Peterson and the rest of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was just like kind of something that probably shouldn't have happened, I guess. But it was like for training, it's so much easier to train when you have kind of a race or something on the schedule. So I
Yeah.
just did it as like a mental kind of trick, and it ended
Wow.
up like things progressed pretty well. I mean, I was out of the pool for only 3 weeks. I was able to get a waterproof cast, but yeah, that was the intro into long course, and I got second there, I think. So I earned a world spot, 70.3 worlds. And yeah, that kind of was the start of like doing long course and short course, but still the focus was fully on short course
Yeah.
because I knew I had a year and like 3 months before worlds the next year. Because the qualifications for pros, it's not just like it's not the same, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
it's kind of
it like
confusing how it
yeah, it
works,
like
but
rolls after June or something.
yeah, it
Like that's
changes
the
every
next year,
year because like this
depending on when Worlds
year,
is.
yeah, it depends on worlds is exactly.
Yeah. So do you have a spot for New Zealand then?
Not yet, yeah.
Yeah.
So like thankfully 70.3, especially if you just race in North America, it rolls down quite a bit.
Yeah.
I forget which race, the 70.3 Michigan and then 70.3 Augusta happened.
Yeah.
Jackson Laundry on RTS did really
Yeah,
well.
I was down there with him.
It rolls down quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you get towards like the
End of
end
the
of that
season.
qualification.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes it rolls down to like seventh, eighth, ninth place.
Yeah. Cool, man.
So the plan will be, yeah, to race there. I actually want to go for like a month and a half over to Oceania, so Australia and New Zealand. I
Yeah.
want to do Noosa. It's a famous Olympic distance race.
Oh, cool.
And then stay over there, and then obviously race 70.3 Worlds in December.
Yeah. Sweet, man. That'll be fun. Looking forward to it. So you've had with so far in 70.3, I believe 3 podiums then? Is that correct?
Um, yeah, 3 podiums, but some of my better races have definitely been off the podium.
Yeah. Like Worlds this
Um,
year, right?
yeah, Worlds this year was definitely a great race for me. Just everything that my coach and I have been working on, just like it just clicked on one day. I mean, it's just been things have just been coming together. We've kind of been seeing it, all this hard work. Like we had a really great off season last winter, and we started seeing that all kind of click.
Yeah.
Started in St. Anthony's, which is an
Yeah.
Olympic race. It was a duathlon, but my run was good there. Both
Mm-hmm.
runs were pretty good. The bike was good. And then like St. George was the North American champs.
Mm-hmm.
The bike again a bit better, and we were able to compare that performance to like the year 6 months earlier. There was the 70.3 Worlds,
Yeah.
so same course, almost similar conditions, a little different. We were able to compare, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just been like all the hard work has finally like been showing.
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of one of the biggest lessons that I think we were talking about this before, like for swimming at least, like what are those things that you mentally like you've been working on? I think
Mm-hmm.
the more I get into sport, it's like the more you are okay with that delayed gratification.
Mm.
Like it's never ever gonna be the next day, the next week where you see the results. And then the same thing goes with something like something that holds you down or something that bothers you. It's like it's probably gonna pass. It's like it's not just don't let one thing ruin your day, one
Yeah.
workout ruin your day, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. It actually reminds me similar things that you're saying that Emma Pallant shared with just her journey of like the delayed gratification to be able to be okay and sit back and work on something and then, trust that it'll come to fruition. So that's really inspiring. So with the work that you do now with being a professional, is this something that is completely sustaining you, or are you having to do like some work on the side as well to kind of continue to help and support it?
I've worked pretty much like a job alongside triathlon since 2018 when I took my elite card. I was working at New Balance at a mall for a little bit, and that was probably the least energy efficient work
Yeah.
because you're driving to work. I was working 20 to 25 hours a week
Yeah.
on my feet. Um, and I mean, it was good. It was like it paid the rent.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so like I said, it was just been a grind and short course just because you're not really getting many sponsors. And even when you win a Continental Cup, so
Yeah.
that low tier of the three, like you're losing money,
Yeah.
even if you win. So yeah, I've worked
Tough.
alongside, but recently, I mean, as of 2 years ago, I guess I found I started working with the Magic Five, so they make those custom fitted
Oh
swim
yeah.
goggles,
Good for you.
and that's been perfect. Part time, fully remote, with a great team. Like they're all swimmers, triathletes,
Yeah.
close friends as well. So that's been a really great kind of work to have. Like right before this, I mean, I worked a little bit, and then over breakfast, I worked a little bit as well. So it's just like really flexible, clock in whenever, just answer tickets. Yeah, it's a really good company.
Yeah. So you do mostly like customer support ticket stuff?
Yep, it's customer service, no phones, just email.
That's awesome.
But right now, my letter E on my keyboard doesn't work, so it's been kind of frustrating. But yeah, like I said, like my computer's 2013. So, do you know Travis from the Daily Try?
I do actually interviewed
So,
him like a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
yeah, super great guy. He was out at Super League, and I was talking about my computer, and he had bought a Mac from on Amazon, and it's Amazon Prime Day or today and
Yeah.
tomorrow. So I just messaged him before our call. I was like, "Yo, which one was it?" Because I think they're just like 20% off or something,
Yeah.
and so we'll see. I might have a new computer
Good for
in
you,
the next
man.
few days.
Yeah.
It's a write
And if
off,
it,
right?
yeah, exactly. And if anybody out there wants to help Marc Dubrick, we will tag him if somebody wants to donate him something.
Yeah,
Because
let's go. I'll
it's,
put whoever it is, I'll put their sticker on the back.
yeah,
They
yeah,
can
for
get some
sure.
logo placement.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So I'm curious. Oh, actually, this is gonna be super random, but I just had this like, crazy idea. So with 70.3 athletes or long course stuff, what if you guys started selling like a patch of your kit or something that you could like have printed on like someone's name and like because you're buying like $100 spot or something or three
Yeah,
hundred
I
dollars
mean
spot.
that's the goal. It's
Is that a
like,
thing? Is that happening? Like other than
well, like it's
sponsors?
logo placement. It's like
Yeah,
any I guess any like advertisement spot. But it's just like getting people who want like who find
yeah,
value in that or who see a might see a return. And then that kind of comes back to like, okay, how many eyes, what's my reach of my, photos, my Instagram, my YouTube.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, that's definitely the idea. Like if you have like this is Real Tri Squad.
yeah.
Jack Rue is the clothing sponsor that
Mhm.
we have and the cycling sponsor. But yeah, that's kind of the goal is, yeah. So if anyone wants, I mean, they could do my helmet. Like, let's
How
talk.
much? How much do I have to pay you for Worlds next year to wear a kit from Jack Rue that we designed that just says stupid questions right across the front? Make it super tacky so everyone knows and like, what is that?
What is that? Well, what's your max budget?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we just started a few months ago,
No,
so
I'm just joking.
yeah, 10 grand. There you go.
Deal.
I actually, if we grow, I wanna and have some cash to put around. I would actually be interested in doing something like that. I think that'd be super fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'd call. Yeah, you know me now. I call first
Perfect.
dibs.
Yeah, for sure. Sweet. So I'm curious with Magic 5 stuff to go back to that for a second. Do you sign each support ticket as Marc Dubrick?
No, just have a great day. Best regards, Mark.
Mark. Oh man,
Yep.
because I'm sure somebody would be like, oh no way, Marc Dubrick. That's crazy. Like that would be
Well,
such.
it's funny. Like I think until recently, not many people knew I worked there. Just last week I posted like an open position that we were trying to fill,
Hmm.
and then everyone's like, oh shit, like you answered a ticket of mine. Um, so yeah, not many people know I work there, and yeah, no, it's fine not having best regards Marc Dubrick, because sometimes you gotta draw the line, you know, like
Yeah.
people will get kind of crazy over the keyboard, you know, these keyboard warriors. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I got to follow the rules
Protocol
of
policy.
our customer service. So I'm sorry if I drew the line on you and couldn't help you out, but I'll give you a best regards. Have a great day.
Yeah, and we'll also link Mark's personal email for all hate mail sent
Don't
to.
forget to give me a follow.
Yeah, give him that follow. So I'm curious then. So you're still pretty young in this. I mean, but you've been a part of triathlon for a long time, obviously, or sport in general. 5 years as a professional. More and more of what you do is like creating a foundation for who you are, but not only how other people see you, but how you see yourself. So
Mhm.
I'm curious, do you think about or have you thought about how your identity is currently shaped and molded by like the sport of triathlon? And if something were to happen, or like, could you make that shift easily? Do you think you could kind of go into something else, or would that just be like super difficult? Obviously, I think it would be difficult, but like, do you think about those types of things?
Yeah, I actually do think about it every once in a while. I think the shift would be challenging right now, but I'd say it's like with every year, every new connection I make, it's getting just a bit like easier, or like it's becoming more clear of like, okay, like I understand I want to be in the sport for whatever 4 or 5 more years, who knows how many more actually. um but yeah, these all these connections, like I treat it like are these people that I might want to work with, like these partnerships. It's like or these sponsors I get now, it's almost like I'm treating it like a an interview process
Yeah.
of like meeting the people in the company, showing
Mm-hmm.
them what I can do, but also like, is it really fun working with them? How are they
Yeah.
with communication? So stuff like that, little things I think about. Yeah, because yeah, this athletics is not going to be, you know, a lifelong thing, but I
Yeah.
know after I'm done competing, I'll definitely want to be in the triathlon world. It's a really fun community. I was at Nice, so I did 70.3 Worlds. I
Yeah.
did the Toulouse Super League, and then I was only 5 hour train ride away from Nice for the Ironman World Champs.
Yeah.
So I was taking a little break from training anyways. I went there and just absolutely had a blast. Met so many cool people, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a fun community. And I would love to kind of transition into whatever it may be, a manager, a sports agent, someone who's in charge of like the pro, um, whatever, the pro community at these races. So it's becoming more clear, but still a long way to go.
Yeah, for sure. So, what is your greatest weakness as a person?
As a person, dang, you did just jump straight into that.
I was like, oh, let's interview Mark on the air.
Trauma. What's your greatest weakness?
Yeah.
My greatest weakness as a person. Um, man, I would say, you know, sometimes, yeah, dang, you really got me on that one.
Mark is perfect, everyone. Are
What's
you?
no, 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 no. What's
No,
your
I'm just
greatest
giving you a hard time.
weakness?
What's my greatest weakness?
Yeah.
My greatest weakness is sometimes falling into the trap um, of seeking personal like gratification in believing what others think about me.
Mm,
And I'll go into that a little bit deeper for a second. So this actually on the 16th is coming up. How many years is it gonna be? I'm 31. It'll be 15 years since I lost my dad when I was 16.
I'm sorry.
Super difficult thing to go
Mhm.
through, obviously, for anyone, or lose anyone in period. But because of that, just kind of the absence of a father, and I was a late bloomer, I quickly, like subconsciously or consciously, started looking outside of like my own family circle, specifically a lot of my friends' dads, to see how could I kind of get what I was missing. So I worked really hard. I've always been a hard worker, but I did
Mhm.
that almost to like, because it was like this underlying thing where I wanted to work so hard because I wanted to impress these guys, these men, these
Mhm.
fathers. I really wanted them to like encourage me. So instead of just like kind of asking for affirmation or like being honest or whatever, I started to like do things that would hopefully garner like this income of, you know, just words of affirmation and stuff like that. So and it's gotten better, but as I got older, that started to become like a not great habit. So I'm working to like impress a lot of these people, not everyone, usually just people who I esteem respectable or something. But I've been in several situations where I almost started living in like this place of false realities, where one time there was this guy who was running this company, and I like had been close to him, and he'd been kind of a mentor and whatnot. And I had been so convinced in my own mind that because he was going to be stepping down as the CEO, that he was going to ask me to be CEO. Like I literally had this in my mind, like it was going to happen. And I had, I think, a conversation with my wife where she was like, almost like, "Are you sure?" And that really bothered me at first. But then I garnered the courage to go and ask him straight up. I was like, "I just have to ask you this. I have this belief that you're going to ask me to do X." And he was basically like, "That is not even remotely close to what I was thinking." And so that's when I realized, and that was probably 5 years ago, that's when I realized, oh my goodness, like I've got to get out of this headspace where I'm always living that Seth is the it and someone wants to like elevate me. So like that's my greatest weakness. It's become less of a thing, I think, over time as I've gotten a little bit older, but I can still fall into those ruts where I start living in a false reality where I think that the world is revolving around me. And then I wake up one day, I'm like, oh, shoot, that's not the case. So I should probably change that a little bit. So
Oh,
there's
but
my weakness. Yeah.
and you're ready for that. But yeah, that's a great
I
story.
work
And
on it.
obviously, the more like you kind of think about it, obviously that's why you're probably getting better at it.
Yeah.
Like you're progressing and learning. Okay, this would like your mindset. Then you kind of can correct it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah, it's a good journey. It's a good journey. But we'll have to come back around to that question
no,
sometime.
I'm ready now. I
Oh, are you
was
ready? Okay.
yeah, you touched on one for me as well while you were
Okay.
telling the story, and it's definitely, and I think a lot of people might have this issue or it's a weakness is just think like caring so much about what people um see you as or how they like the feelings. I don't even know how to word this. Yeah, just caring what people think about you.
Yeah.
I probably take it to heart too much.
Yeah.
And then obviously as you get into social media, as you get
Yeah.
your name, your image, your whatever out there, people there's always going to be haters out there, especially on social media. So yeah, just not caring what people think, and just I think just always acting like myself in not putting any facade up in front of people, and then yeah, that's probably my biggest weakness is caring too much about what people think.
For sure. So if anybody wants to ever message Mark in the months to come, hey, how you doing on this? Are you caring too much what we think? Shut it off.
Yeah, message me, you piece of shit, you
No.
suck, you suck at cycling, and then it'll be a good practice for me, and it'll be like, I don't really care.
Yeah, there you go. Shut it off. Don't even read. I know a lot of pros, or not a lot, but more and more pros are like having somebody else manage that stuff because it starts to become crazy. Like, how have you dealt with? I wouldn't. I mean, I'd say you're like middle famous of the road. Like you're gaining more
Probably
popularity.
low. I mean, I think the best viral thing I got besides like that little sprint finish at Worlds was the interaction with Jan at the PTO race.
I was gonna ask about that, which is a great segue. Let's talk about
Yeah.
that for a second.
I mean, that was not staged at all. Like that was
Yeah,
full, that was real. So in short course, you just pre-race, you're doing starts with everyone. Like you just jump into
yeah.
groups. The coach will start you, and I'm just next to him. I was like, I'll ask Jan, like if he wants to do a little start. He's looking like he's getting ready to go, and then I swear he just didn't hear me. Like he just said,
He
he's
didn't.
like,
Talbot, he dove into it hard.
yeah. He's like, excuse me. No, it was really funny, but yeah, I was like caught back a little bit,
Yeah.
but just rolled with the punches and ended up being like a pretty funny interaction.
It was actually gold. And I was curious to ask you how you actually felt, but like when I watched it, I sent it to like 5 people and I was crying. It was so funny. Just the way that he put it. And it was at your expense. So I have to ask a little bit as I'm smiling because I still think it's kind of funny. But like, did that hurt your feelings at all?
No, and actually, this is what I guess the weakness part.
Yeah.
I've been working on it. So Talbot kind of apologized, and then Kyle Glass, they're like, like just like apologize. I'm like, I could care less. Even Jan a few weeks later messaged me saying he had heard I like lost sleep over it, and I'm like, no, like
Oh,
that's good banter. Like That's what we
Yeah.
need. Everyone needs to be able to do. Like I lived with Joe Skipper before 70.3 Worlds, and British people are like the kings of this, just giving each other shit, not
Yeah.
taking anything personal, like having
Junkyard
fun all
dog.
the time. And that's how I took it. I'm like, it was hilarious. And then I messaged Jan after. I was like, he's like, dude, I'm sorry. Like if you took it personally, I was like, no, this is hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
and thank you for the followers. I got like 200 followers from
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. Well, I'm glad I
So
asked that because I was a
yeah.
little concerned. Yeah.
So no, I definitely didn't take it personal at all. Like, I mean, it was just a funny meme as well with the Conor McGregor, and no, I thought it was
Yeah.
hilarious.
It was really well done. The fact it was so cheesy edited, like with the
Yeah.
moving faces, like that, the comedy there is just, it was pure
Yeah.
comedic
So
genius. It was awesome.
more people like now I just get like, who are you at World 70.3? That's what I got so much. Like,
Like,
who
who
are
are
you?
you?
Yeah.
That's so
Want to
funny.
start? Like I got that a few times.
Yeah.
And then Jan being Jan, like the banter again. I went to Nice, like I was telling you, and I posted a video that I was there, like some whatever panel of how awesome the swim was going to be.
Oh yeah, and
And
he posted something.
yeah, he DM'd me again. He's like, want to do a start?
That's so funny.
Which I thought was really funny. So I shared it, and people
Yeah.
loved that as well. So that was
Yeah, for
good.
sure.
That was really, really good of him and really funny.
Yeah, good for you, man. So I'm curious, as you've started to like gain some of the like following, has that affected you at all? Like, do you have an urge to check social media more to check numbers, or do you just like you're saying you don't care what people think, but like as far as the gaining in popularity, has that affected you at all?
No, not really. I mean, I'd say it's still not like
Yeah,
I'm not like that popular at all. It's
yeah,
still a point where I can like respond. Like if people comment like
yeah,
on that video of the sprint finish, I'd classify that as kind of viral. It's at like 700 and whatever 20K
yeah,
views. I still go in and like respond like if people are asking questions about triathlon or what's going on here, what it is. So I love doing that. Like if I ever do hire someone to manage my accounts or posts or whatever, it's not going to be a full on like I don't have control. I don't have it because
yeah,
I want to be social. I want to use social
yeah,
media for a tool to meet people and share like the knowledge that I've gained over these years in the sport because I think that can be a great way to help people get like overcome a fear or
yeah.
overcome something that might be scaring them to get into triathlon.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Good for you. So forgive me for not knowing, but are you talking about the Alcatraz one? No,
No, there's another one.
you said it was Super League.
The sorry, 70.3 Worlds.
Oh,
The
oh yes, duh. I'm so
the
sorry.
sprint finish
Yeah,
against
yeah,
his name's
yeah.
Thor. If you're from America, Tor. I forget his last name. He's on the Team BMC
Okay.
squad, which was funny because I went again at Nice. I talked to the BMC guy, and I introduced myself, and then he like looked at me for a little bit. He's like, "Oh, you're that guy!" Like, "F you!" Like as a joke, like the manager or the whatever. It wasn't Thor. It was the manager of the Team BMC, I think, or maybe someone who just knew the team. But yeah,
Yeah,
it was pretty funny.
for sure, man. So how long have you been a part of Real Triathlon Squad now?
This will be the first year still. It feels like I've
Oh,
been
it is
with them
first year.
for
Yeah,
ages.
yeah,
Just absolutely amazing group of
yeah.
people.
Oh yeah,
You
man.
obviously talked to Nick recently,
Yeah,
and Nick's yeah, what a guy. I mean, he's crazy busy. Just yeah, he's a good mentor, good friend. Love being around Nick. I'll be seeing him quite a bit still the rest of the
yeah.
year. I think we're
Good.
doing the next 2 races or 3 races together, and then I actually
Nice.
might be living in St. George for 2 weeks before Indian Wells.
Oh, cool, man. Sweet.
Yep.
Well, look up for that. I have to just talk about Nick for a second because I went into that interview with him having done like only like minimal, maybe 30, 40 minutes of research in total, and was just watching social media clips and listened to a couple of the podcasts. And I had him pegged as like a bro's bro, kind of like, hey, what's up? I'm awesome. These are my muscles, and this is my other one. But when I got to know him, it was just like, I was actually completely humbled. I was like, wow, I misjudged this guy so much. He had so many deep things to say.
Yep.
he was almost shedding tears a few times. I came out of that interview in a good way, like drained of emotion, because it was such like a good emotional roller coaster of hearing all the stuff that he's going through, and I was just like, I was really blown away by his character. I was like, yeah, he's a good guy. So I'm super excited for RTS and you being a part of that group.
Yeah, and that's like Nick is the type of person you want to have around. Just not even in triathlon, just like a just absolute great guy. He's actually my agent now,
Yeah,
just because I trust him so much with everything.
yeah,
And then like RTS, we got the pro team, and I'm sure you guys talked about this. We're just
mm-hmm.
like invest in RTS. That's all I have to say. We're doing some really great things. We're gonna grow the sport of triathlon just for
100%.
everyone. But then obviously he's in Super League now. That's gonna really help with the Olympic development side of
Yeah,
triathlon. But yeah, we got some really big things coming with RTS, and I just can't wait to be part of it in the years to come.
yeah. Yeah, I look forward to watching you guys grow. It's really been neat doing some of these interviews and hearing how all you guys are so interconnected, RTS and otherwise. It's
Yeah.
really neat to see how everybody like knows each other and is pushing for this sport to grow. It's just a really neat thing to
Yeah, well,
witness.
it's because Nick's built a great team, honestly. Like the
Yeah,
people we have on the team, I mean, he's picked us for a reason, and all of us want to be part of the team as well. Like Jackson, great guy, great
mm-hmm.
racer, just great person. So many people. I'm like, I can go through everyone: Jackson,
Yeah,
Leslie, Tamara, Garrick, Lisa, Nick, like Nicole Falcaro. There's just
mm-hmm.
so many good people on the team that are just genuine and people you want to have in your life.
Yeah, 100%. So I want to go back a little bit more. There was something you said earlier that what this year was kind of like, in a lot of ways, a breakthrough year because you and your coach were working on some things that just were like key pieces that you saw, I guess, kind of come to fruition. What were
Mhm.
some of those key things?
Yeah, so I mean, like we didn't do anything like different. I'd say it's that
Yeah.
delayed kind of gratification. There were a few things that changed in a way. So I was with James Peterson, my coach, for 3 years, in a team environment. We were 6 to 7 of us. I was there for 3 years. We did New Hampshire and Florida. That was kind of the routine. Florida for the winters,
Yeah.
and then New Hampshire for the rest. And I kind of, after last May, left. I just needed a bit more balance, I guess, just change things up. So I went to Boulder. I have a bunch of friends here. And now I'm kind of doing the Boulder Tucson routine. And
Up, down,
yeah,
up,
so
down.
just like I was able to train with a bunch more people, get in some more group rides, um, and then just like kind of have a better balance in my life. But I'd say if like I needed to answer that with one or two things that really helped. It was obviously the consistency. I'd always been really consistency in training, but just nailed it even more. And then we've put more emphasis on like the TT bike now that I'm in long course. So like
Mm-hmm.
holding to the position, getting more aero, and then just yeah holding power in aero. Like I was until like my last 70.3 or maybe earlier this year, I was still just getting crazy sore from races,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't really good. I mean, it's just like shows that I had a lot of adapting to do still to
Yeah.
racing that distance. And then the other thing was just looking at the weaknesses physically. So my hamstrings, we got a little eval, and my hamstrings were just crazy weak. So I've been
Really
lifting a bit more, focusing
good.
on hamstrings, and that translated to not having any more Achilles pain. I was battling that for a couple years, and then some glute pain if I was running fast for some reason. Now that I'm lifting and working on those hamstrings, that's kind of gone away.
Yeah.
So
Strength
just
training is
really,
huge.
yeah, built a better kind of base, core, or whatever. Just physically, that's really propelled me to handle more training and bigger workouts.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Um, your triathlon coach, is that also your strength coach? Or do you
No,
kind of build your own
I
stuff?
self coach, yeah,
Okay,
for
nice.
the strength.
Nice.
The emphasis is like it's the balance of not doing too much to where it affects the other, like the swim bike run.
Mm-hmm.
And he trusts me with that. Obviously, it's kind of been working. I'm quick. Like I probably only do 20 minutes. I'll do like a superset. I'll do like a lot of single leg stuff, like
Yeah.
leg press, ham curl, something else, and then I'll do that three times or so, and
Mm-hmm.
then some sort of core routine.
Yeah.
And I'm in and out in like yeah 20 minutes, and I
Uh,
think it's I could probably benefit. I'll probably like we'll play with that this off season a bit longer.
Yeah,
But that's only because my intensity on the bike probably won't be. I won't be doing these hard workouts, so I can afford to do those harder lifts.
yeah.
But I've done like sessions where it's like 45 to an hour in the weight room, and it just didn't seem sustainable. Like I
Yeah.
was just always so tired.
Yeah, it's such a different feeling, like from running 20 miles and then, there's a tired and soreness, but then doing like an hour in the gym lifting, like especially leg day, it's like another completely different exhaustion. I haven't been able to like peg it to anything else endurance wise.
Right. You're right. And lifting, I mean, it's not for everyone. Not There's a lot of people who don't lift
Yeah.
and like world class athletes that don't lift. And I'd say mine's of definitely a mix between building strength
Mm-hmm.
and injury prevention. I think everyone probably should do stuff for injury prevention.
Yeah,
Like
I
whatever your
agree.
PT says, or there's so much good stuff on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for me, it's been a good balance, and I'll probably play around with lengthening it, and I always change, like, I do whatever 4 or 5 weeks of exercise and then rotate and adapt it
For sure.
to something else. But yeah, seems to
Yeah.
be working.
Yeah, good for you. Are you still a Stages sponsored athlete?
Yeah, I am still
Okay.
a Stages. So they do the power meters
Mm-hmm.
and the head unit. And yeah, it's been good. I've used quite a few pedal based power meters. I was on Power Tap before this year, and then, which is the move. Like, I think Stages would, like, if you have
Go that
multiple
direction.
bikes, go
Yeah.
for a pedal. Because unless you want to buy whatever, three
Yeah.
power meters or two power meters. But yeah, so Stages helped, and then that allowed me to then go for a better kind of pedal that gave me more clearance and was not as heavy.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. So you did not go to the Olympic trials, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, yeah. I'm
Okay. You're off
done
that
with.
pathway.
Yep, not on that. So that was for triathlon. There isn't really an Olympic trials. There's the test event. Oh
You dying?
no, we're good. We got 10%.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah, the Olympic test event was the goal, like always,
Yeah.
until like I don't even know. So that was
Yeah.
that just happened. So if those like races in Chile would have gone really really well, I probably would have obviously stayed with the short course stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
but yeah, it's fun to watch. I mean, being part of Super League, obviously like I did the Toulouse one, and then I'm part of like RTS, the long course team. But
Mm-hmm.
I still like, and I'm good friends with all these guys.
Yeah.
So it's it's like fun being part of Super League because I get to see them and cheer for them in person, or at
Yeah.
least I did in Malibu. Um, and like that was my first time meeting Morgan, so
Yeah.
he's a great guy, and it's a goofy guy, but it's
Yeah.
exciting seeing like him. He already auto qualified, and then he'll now, yeah, he's got just gonna focus on the Olympics.
Yeah. Crazy, crazy stuff. So because your phone's dying, we'll wrap up here in just a second. I have two more questions.
Yeah, I got 10%. It's a new phone. It should last a couple more
Yeah,
hours.
I hope so. We'll see what happens. So I noticed that you said you went to St. Mary's. That was the private school, right? Is it
Yes,
St.
yeah,
Mary's? Okay.
elementary through eighth grade.
Did you
Like,
grow up in like a religious, like spiritually focused household?
yeah, we were Catholic growing up. Went to church every Sunday
Mm-hmm.
until probably high schoolish.
Okay. So
Probably going every Sunday as a family.
yeah. Are you still like, would you consider yourself a religious or quote unquote spiritual person now?
No, I'm not going to church like
Yeah.
every Sunday. So no.
Yeah. No, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Do you ever miss any aspect of that life?
I mean, I mean, not really. I
Yeah.
mean, I like spending time with family is very important to me.
Sure.
So that our family was doing it, so I'm going with my family. Again, I had friends there, and then I think like if it's doing what you can to help those who are less fortunate, who are in a not as good place, is like you don't have to be religious to believe in that.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
so giving back, and I think that's where my family is now. I mean, my parents still go every once in a while, and but we're always like we have that core value, and my parents have put that on me, that core value of if you can and if you have the means and the ability to help someone who's is going through a hard time or who needs help, needs help overcoming like a death in the family or whatever, be there for them.
Yeah.
Just do what you can.
Yeah. Those are great values for sure. And it comes through with your character too. Like the reason I poked around a little bit at the private school stuff is I was wondering in the beginning if it was like a religious affiliation organization or something like that. So that's why I asked that question. But yeah, thanks for sharing. So stupid question time. Bruce
I'm ready for it, I
Springsteen.
think.
Bruce Springsteen is postponing all of his scheduled tour dates this year until 2024 as he takes time to recover from a peptic ulcer disease. Any thoughts on that?
No thoughts. What's the disease you said?
Peptic ulcer disease. See, I didn't actually read this either. I just did this because people were giving me crap because I didn't ask any stupid questions. So I'm starting to try to do this. But for those who want to know, peptic ulcer disease is a break in the inner lining of the stomach, the first part of the small intestine, or sometimes the lower esophagus. So basically, you get an ulcer in your stomach, and it's called a gastric ulcer, and it turns into worse things.
Okay, well,
That's
sounds like it's probably the right move to take
Yeah.
a little break and
Yeah.
take care of your body.
Bruce. I don't even know who Bruce Springsteen is, and that's probably terrible. There's a link to who is Bruce? He's a singer, right?
Yes.
Bruce
Come on.
Springsteen. He was a part of the. I don't even know. Do you know?
And we can Google it, give the people what they want.
I'm googling it. American singer songwriter nicknamed the Boss. So I guess he is his just own singer songwriter. Somebody's gonna tell me that I'm an idiot
Oops.
after this, but
Stupid
yeah.
question. No background context, no background knowledge of the.
Yeah, the person.
Yeah.
What I've actually been doing, if anyone reads, do you read like the Morning Brew? Have you
I
heard of it?
should. That's another weakness I need to work on is being more
Education.
informed about
The
like
world.
helpful current news.
The Morning Brew is pretty good. I used to do just NPR, but over time they've become just more and more leaning only one way. Like I wouldn't consider them in the middle of the road anymore. And the Morning Brew is starting to do the same thing. They used to be so neutral, and now it's just
Ah,
like you can tell what's being pushed. I'm like, come on, I just want to know, like, give me
yeah,
the facts, and that's it. But yeah, anyway, now I read
I
the
should do
Tempo
better
a
at that.
lot. You heard of the
Yeah,
Tempo?
the tempo, as in
Tempo
like Matt
News.
Sharp's
Yeah,
tempo.
yeah. Go check it out.
Yeah,
Go sign up.
Matt Sharp's a great guy. I see him almost every day. Actually, we swim around the same time.
Oh, seriously? Yeah. Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
you're in Boulder too, right?
Yep. And then actually, we got back from. I got back from Malibu the same time he got back from New York City Tri. So we were
Okay.
talking while we were waiting for our bikes at Denver Airport.
Nice. Nice. How much percent you have on your phone? Because I have another question.
Good, 8%.
Oh, we're so
Lots of
good.
time.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
we're
be here
good.
for years. So my wife and I. So my wife is graduating from grad school, nurse practitioner. We have been considering moving somewhere like outside of Bend or maybe outside of Boulder, just for the stuff that I'm doing now. It'd be nice
Mhm.
to intermingle a little bit more with like this industry. Is Boulder realistic? Can you find a place to live that's not like, here's your 300 square foot flat for 4,000 a month?
I don't think it's reasonable, but that's I'm looking from my
Yeah,
lens, my budget lens. Yeah, I mean, it's a great place. It's an interesting place for sure. I'm obviously just talking and meeting with the Boulder athletes
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. Because
You
you
know,
just moved there, right? Like not long
well, I mean, I
ago.
don't have a lease anywhere. I would
Okay.
People ask me this, like, where do you live? And I'm like, nowhere really. I
I
mean,
live.
I am in Boulder,
Yeah.
but I don't have a lease anywhere. I'm
Yeah.
like right now I'm house sitting for someone,
Nice.
watching their cat named Klondike,
Oh,
um,
Klondike.
and then at the end of the month I'll go race and then go to St. George, and then I'll go to Tucson and then maybe do it all over again. But yeah,
Okay.
just bounce around. Don't want to train with the winter, but if you're into winter sports, like this
Great
place does
place.
have it all in my
Yeah.
opinion. You got skiing, obviously. You got cross country skiing. You got snowshoeing, and then
Yeah.
obviously in the summer and the fall, it's just absolutely perfect training. You got
Mm-hmm.
altitude. You got climbs for riding,
Yeah.
mountain bikes. You got flats for TT. I have heard really good things about Bend from Eric and Paula.
Yeah.
That's actually at altitude as well. The
Yeah.
only thing I hate
It's pretty.
is smoke. like
Yeah, that's
opportunity
what I was
for
thinking about too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd say we've been pretty lucky here. There hasn't been much smoke since May, and
Yes.
then
Same.
Bend, I think, has been getting smoke, but again, it just like
Yeah.
hit or miss, but it does seem to be happening more.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. We actually here in the South, so I'm in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We had like 2 weeks this summer where there was like from all the Canada stuff, but usually
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't
remember
come
that.
down. It came down deep, and I was like, "What is this stuff?" Like,
Yeah, like like terribly high. Was it AQI?
yeah,
Right?
AQI. Yeah, it was like up in 160s, 170s,
Yeah,
like, and you
I
could
don't
see
mess
it.
with
It looked
that.
like an industrial sector in China. Like it was
Yeah,
intense.
I don't mess with that. So I hate the smoke, and
Yeah,
so I'm going inside. If obviously that helps. I'm
yeah,
guessing like if you have your filter on your air conditioning.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, Bend, Colorado. I mean, it's a great community of people here. Like if you go out, so Tom Watson's like the go-to place
Mm-hmm.
to for long runs and group rides and all these things. If you go there in the summer, like the parking lot's full. There's like 200 cars. There's
Yeah.
just like you'll see. I probably saw like 300 people out on the bike last Saturday,
Wow.
group rides, just other groups, friend,
Yeah.
like just randoms. But yeah, it's just so active here. Even on like a rainy day, you'll see people out there
Yeah.
just because it's a lifestyle. It's not like they're working out, yes, but it's they
Yeah.
want to be outside, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
Yeah, yeah, no, living in those types of lifestyle environments is really great. When you go down to Tucson, are you planning on just kind of doing your own thing, or do you think you'll connect with some of the other Tucson boys and girls?
Yeah, definitely connect. I was there last winter with this guy Robbie Deckard and Amy Simmerman and Elliot Bach, if you know
Okay,
any of them.
I don't.
I'll be with them again, and we'll be adding two more people to that. So we ended up getting a big house. Still on that like go for cheap rent
Yep.
over kind of having your own space.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do
That
that
professional
again.
athlete life.
Yep, exactly. And but Sam Long's down there and he lives pretty
Mm-hmm.
close to where we are. And he was very, very welcoming to he had a little group as well. So we would swim with them and Elliot was joining them for
Nice.
rides. But then there's a lot of people who come down because they'll come down for maybe a few weeks for a camp to avoid like I guess February gets pretty rough here in Boulder for training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So people will come down and then it's really fun because yeah, just enjoying the sunny Arizona environment. And
Yeah.
yeah, now that we're down there, it's like when there's more people down there, more people are willing to come down as well,
Yeah.
I guess. So
Yeah.
we'll host people if we have room. But yeah, it's definitely better training with people.
Yeah. For sure. That's awesome. Well, if I do end up coming out there, it'd be fun to
Yeah.
wave at you guys as you go by and do 1,000
Well,
miles an hour.
no, so you'd be surprised. For me, I like my easy days are easy. Like I'm
Yeah.
going very easy. And I've found that that's best, especially on the run.
Yeah.
Like take those easy days easy because the benefit you get from going just like whatever. So I'll run like 8 flat on easy days, 7:30 to 8 flat per mile.
Yeah.
Just like time on the feet, it's doing exactly what you need it to do.
Yeah.
There's no point in running like 7:30 or sorry, like 6:30, 6 flat, gray zone. For me, I just don't feel good from it. And then it ends up affecting my key workouts.
Yeah. What's your max heart rate these days?
I think my max ever might be like 195 or something running.
Okay.
I think maybe one
Nice.
something like that.
Yeah.
I'm having some
So
heart rate issues. I need to get that figured out. My coach has been getting on me. He's like, "What's going on? Get that
yeah,
get that
like it
shit
getting
fixed."
like it's going too high type of thing.
Like the heart rate monitor is broken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
you. I got you.
Not actual heart issues like with
Yeah.
training, but just like yeah, the actual like device.
Yeah. I actually have a question too. And this is more of a selfish question if your phone's not dead yet.
No, we're good. 6. Dude, I'm telling you, this
Oh,
battery life is
yeah, it's next level. It's gonna go an hour. So when I train most of the time, I keep my heart rate like zone two. We're looking at like 135 at the low end. Like hard track workouts, like I'm averaging 155, 156. Every time I go to race, 70.3 Olympic, it doesn't matter. And I did like a trail race this weekend. I'm hitting like 178, and I'm holding that like for a long time. Which if I get too high, I'll start to cramp, and it's not great in the gut and stuff like that. But when you race, do you also like are you pushing the red line or getting close to it when you get to the race, or do you pull it back intentionally and like sacrifice power just to keep heart rate down? Like how do you approach that?
Um, I actually don't race with heart rate during the
Just never
race. No
look at
heart
it.
rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think there's a time for like knowing when you should like back off a little during the race for your,
Yeah.
like for yourself. But for me, like with the dynamics of the race, usually most of the times like you got to freaking go with them on the
Yeah.
bike, especially
Yeah.
unless it's like super super early in the bike or depending on who it is that's passing you. So I don't really have a good answer for that. It's
Maybe I'll quit
yeah,
racing with a heart rate monitor.
I think yeah, I think you got to decide like where you are in the race, and know that like you still have a run, and if you crush yourself too much, maybe it,
Yeah.
it is a negative on the run, but like for the pro field, like if you're staying, there are still groups at that legal
Mm-hmm.
drafting distance of 12 meters, so it could be worth going above your normal race pace to be with that group, because in the end it might be
Yeah.
a net positive, like
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a balance. Sometimes the best runs I've had have been off of like a hard bike, so it just depends on the day. But yeah, cool, man. Awesome.
But that would be a good question for my coach, or a coach in general,
Yeah.
that the heart rate stuff, and because I mean I probably should. It would be interesting to race with a heart rate, but it's just another thing to wear.
Yeah.
Like I already
Extra
don't really,
weight.
I
Half
don't,
a
yeah.
watt.
I don't like any like the tight suits sometimes, especially if it's
Yeah.
hot. So like having another, I mean, I obviously train with a heart rate all the time, but yeah, I prefer just
Yeah. I think most
feel
don't.
sometimes.
Do you just have a watch, or do you even run with a watch? Do you just go by feel?
For the 70.3 stuff, I'll just grab my watch. I'm
In
looking at my
transition.
wrist, which doesn't even have a watch on it. Yeah, I'll grab a watch in transition, heading out for the run.
Yeah.
I don't swim with it, and I don't bike with it. I'll have the bike computer on
Yeah.
like auto pause, so then when you start moving your bike, it automatically
Yeah.
runs.
Yeah. So with your watch though, are you fiddling with it, like scrolling down to run, start, or you already have it set? Like,
Yeah, it's set. So all I do is click, like it's a Garmin, so you click
yeah,
the play button and then it finds satellite. But as long as you like find satellite,
within the
I'll just
first.
find it while I'm in transition.
Yeah.
Because for 70.3s, a lot of times you're leaving your watch overnight.
Yeah.
But as long as
Oh,
it's
true.
found satellite, but like recently, it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
But for like, I know people on Strava appreciate that I upload it, but honestly, it's a lot of it's for like a cue for nutrition. I'll
Yeah.
take a drink every
Time.
K. So every beep, I'll take a nutrition. So, if it starts whatever 100 meters late, it's not the worst thing.
Yeah. How many grams are you throwing down? Or are you more of like the ketosis mixture kind of a guy these days?
I haven't taken those ketone things. Is that what
Me
you're
neither.
talking about? The
Yeah. Like, are
ketone
you?
IT things?
Well, what I'm really asking is like, how many grams are you trying to take per hour? Because some guys I talked to one guy before I did Wisconsin because I thought my issue with nutrition was I wasn't taking enough, and he's like, I'm taking 140 grams an hour, and I was like, I did the math
Jeez.
weight ratios, and I was like, okay, that's like 80 for me. Well, I did Augusta with 80, and I vomited like you would not believe. I actually trigger vomited one of the pro women that I was running with behind me, and she vomited probably because I
Oh
vomited.
no.
So I was like, okay, this is clearly way too much. Like, so how many grams per
I
hour are you?
did. Yeah, this is good. It's on the top of my head because Precision Hydration, shameless plug there, the nutrition company that sponsors me.
Yep.
They'll be posting my nutrition stuff from Worlds. But on the
Awesome.
bike, I did 115 per hour, grams of carbs per hour. And then, so that would be whatever, 230. I think I biked 202. And then
Yeah.
on the run, I was actually
Fast.
pretty high. I was 100 per hour. I think I got 100 and just over 100
Are you?
grams in.
Do you feel hungry and you're like, I'm taking this, or you're like, I'm gonna vomit. I have to eat this.
Thankfully, no. I rarely have I felt like that with like need a vomit, can't take this last gel, but I just practice. I just found gels that work for me, and then practice it. So in long run and long rides, I'm practicing that race day nutrition, and it seems to work. For the run, my go-to is honestly the maple syrup. It's so dense, and you just take
Like
a little
actually
sip.
maple syrup for race day.
Yeah, yep. I'm actually right next to my fridge. Um,
Grab it.
this is one that I would buy. This is from Costco.
Yeah, I've
I
seen
think they're
Lionel
12
in his
bucks. So
videos. Yeah.
actually, this is like the best carb dollar per carb thing you can do. But for the run, yeah, I'll put it in a little running flask. I'm so close to everything.
Yeah. No, grab it. This is great. This is gonna make great reels.
So I'll do this. It's like a little running flask that normally goes in like a running belt.
Yeah.
So I'll fill this with like 80 grams of carbs
Weighted
of
grams actually equals grams per hour, right? Like,
sorry, 80 grams of carbs, which is I think 4 tablespoons of maple
okay.
syrup, something like
Okay.
that. And then I'll do a packet of Precision Hydration. It has like 750 milligrams of sodium and also 15 grams of carbs, and then the rest with water. So every K, I'm just sipping on this.
Oh,
And
so
then I'll
you
have
mix the Precision 1500 with
with this, yeah,
I
because
gotta,
Precision doesn't have sodium in their gels.
yeah,
And then I'll take one gel,
yeah,
100 milligram caffeine, 30 gram carb as well. So that gets me to my just over 100 grams per
yeah,
hour, or 100 grams for the whole run, I guess.
yeah. And your run's like hour and
Uh,
10 minutes or less.
yeah, I did 110 at Worlds and then 109, just over 109, trying to catch Lionel and Trevor
Uh,
at Oregon.
that's amazing.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm coming off the bike 5 minutes down, I got to run that fast. But
Yeah,
hopefully soon, not coming off the bike that far down.
dude,
And
you keep working your hamstrings and start squatting 6 times your weight, you'll be fine.
there we go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, everything like especially Worlds and other races this year have just got me really excited for like the workouts and bike workouts and
Yeah,
stuff. Um, just the potential for what I don't know could
yeah,
happen. It's a
yeah,
good
for sure.
motivator for me.
Yeah, I'm excited. One other question, if you're not like you're
Three
not taking
percent,
Precision.
we're good.
Okay, sweet. This will probably be actually the last one. For Precision Hydration, so I'm going to be actually interviewing Andy next month.
Nice, yeah,
Um,
Andy Blow.
yeah, super nice guy, great team. They sent me like I felt like a legit podcast when they sent me all this stuff because they're like, here, you can read up on this, and here's some logos, and here's some pictures, and then they sent me a box of a bunch of free stuff, and I was like, oh man, this is great. But I'm curious, do you know why they don't put sodium in with their gels? Is it just because that's how they set it up? I guess that's a good question for Andy. But
Yeah, it's a great question for Andy. Let's see if my response checks out with his. It would make to me it makes sense not to do sodium, and you add your own based on how much you're like sodium you're losing because
yeah,
it's so personal. So I got tested. I'm losing just about 1,100 milligrams of sodium per hour.
on the run
And
or on the bike or both.
just in general, I guess it's standard. Like it doesn't really change
I did each
depending.
actually my test, so I was curious if
And you
yours
were
was similar.
different. Mine was like this little test you put on your forearm, and
Yeah.
then they plug it into this machine.
Okay.
Is
I
that
did
what you
something
did?
similar. Well, so I did it's called like Levelin. They basically give you two samples where you put stuff on your arm, but then you stick it in a test tube. But I did like a 4 hour bike ride and like a 2 hour, 20-mile run. The temperatures and humidities were pretty much the same, but I lose a lot more on the run than I do on the
Oh.
bike by like, I think it was 1,400 an hour on the bike. And when I was running, it was like almost 2K.
And that's sodium or
Sodium.
liquid weight. Okay.
No, it's actually sodium. Yeah, I
Okay.
lost. I was actually hyponemic or whatever,
Yeah,
where
that's
I
a
had
ton.
too much.
2,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's a great question for Andy. I think it's mostly because then you can be very precise with the amount of sodium that you like need
yeah,
personally because it can be so different for
yeah.
certain people.
Cool. Are you doing St. Anthony's next year?
I hope so. Yeah, I
Cool.
love that race.
Yeah,
They have a really, really good community of like homestays, like
yeah,
well, just great community, but they also have homestays, just great families that love to support these triathletes coming in.
yeah,
So that's become a staple. Like everywhere I go and I have these homestays, I like can't pass up that race again. So St.
yeah,
George, I have this amazing family that I've stayed with twice. So it's like I can't not go to that race now because I
yeah,
want to see this family too and reconnect with them. And
yeah,
then I had a great homestay in Oregon. So it's just like, yeah, I got to do St. Anthony's, and it makes sense with the calendar.
yeah,
It's early season, great opener probably, and it's an Olympic
yeah.
distance with good prize money. And then I have to defend my Alcatraz title.
Yes, 100%. Cool. Well, I hope to see you down at St. Anthony's. I was there this year and I hung out with a few people, and that's where I kind of got the idea to start this thing when I met Evan Price and a few other guys. I don't know if you know him, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I know Evan actually, and I listened to your guys' podcast. or at
Okay.
least a few clips of it.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
yeah,
Sweet.
he's a great guy. I bet he'll probably do some of the races at the end of the year, right? Did he say if he's doing Cabo or Indian Wells?
He's doing Indian Wells, I'm pretty sure. Like 90% sure. I was talking to
Yeah,
him
that
a
one's
few
gonna
days
be a
ago.
party. Oh dang. Okay, we're on 1%.
All right. Well, hey man, thanks so much for coming on. Everybody, Marc Dubrick. We'll link everything in the show notes, and so you can go follow him and give him lots of money for sponsorships.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it was great. Money is not a necessity, but yeah, come say hi. I'm always here to answer your questions and get to know more people.
For sure. Sweet. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for checking in and tuning in to this podcast with Marc Dubrick. Huge shout out to Marc. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Third time is the charm, and it was just an awesome experience getting to know you a little bit better as a person. Gotta say, if you guys haven't met Marc and you do meet him in person, you're in for a real treat. Just an honor to get to know him. So if you've made it to this point in the podcast, just want to say thank you so much for checking it out. If you have a moment, whether you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Stitcher or wherever you're listening to this podcast, if you would give it a like or review, maybe even ask some questions if you're on the Spotify channel, it really does help us out as we continue to grow this and figure out what in the world we're doing, because I'll be honest, most of the time I don't know exactly what I'm doing. Also want to do a huge shout out for the Rudy Project. Thank you, Mike, for hooking us up. If you guys want to save 35% on anything and everything Rudy Project, you can click the link in the description to set up an ambassador account, and immediately you will get 35% off of everything. Let me just say, some of their helmets are $400+, and if you do 30% of that, that's a lot of money, like $100 or more. So go and check them out. Also, thank you to Trek Shorts for supporting this podcast. All right, I think that's about it. Really appreciate all you guys taking a listen, and we will catch you in the next one.